Hello everyone, welcome to Tennis Fan Video. Aryna Sabalenka will clash with Elena Rybakina later today, in a rematch of the enthralling Australian Open final from earlier this year. The winner will claim the Indian Wells title, but there is plenty more at stake than just silverware. For Elena Rybakina, this represents another opportunity to exert her dominance over a top player, as she seeks to close the gap between her and the top-ranked player in the world. Meanwhile, Aryna Sabalenka will be keen to prove why she is exactly that. Frustratingly for the latter, her record against the Kazakh is far from perfect, and Coco Vandeweghe thinks she knows why. Aryna Sabalenka sent warning ahead of Indian Wells final versus Elena Rybakina. Speaking on Tennis Channel ahead of their clash, the pundit began by praising Rybakina's ability to turn up for the big moments. It just shows that when she gets deep in a draw, Elena Rybakina, she is dominant. We saw a couple of other stats where she's 5-0 in finals. So you see her game come to full form and her ability to tack her game onto the best in the world. And that's not easy to do when you're facing world number 1, top 10 players, to be able to use your game and actually beat them at first strike tennis. And Rybakina has shown that she has done it more times than not. Chris Eubanks then added, if she's able to get to the final, clearly that serve is firing. Her ground game is firing. We've seen even in recent months, her movement has gotten a lot better. So if she's able to play her way into form and reach a final, you know you were in tune for an informed Elena Rybakina. She can be very difficult to topple. This spurred Vandeweghe to explain why Rybakina is so dominant, not just in finals, but against Sabalenka particularly. She concluded by stating, the reason why is because their games are very similar in the regard that their backhands are the more solid wing, the forehands can break down. And when you see from Aryna Sabalenka, even if she's having a good serving day, Rybakina is not letting her into these rallies because she can handle the backhand to backhand cross-court rallies. So that just makes Sabalenka pull the trigger down the line a bit quicker than she wants. Brad Gilbert has predicted who will win out of Sabalenka and Rybakina, with the match starting later today. Aryna Sabalenka's record versus Elena Rybakina in finals. While Sabalenka might lead the head-to-head against Rybakina, when it comes to any matches they have played in finals, the record is instead skewed against her. And for the Belarusian, that is what will be of most importance, given she so often is unable to convert her dominance over the WTA Tour into as many titles as she should. Overall, her record in finals is positive, but 22 wins and 20 losses represent a surprisingly close win/loss ratio for such a superstar. Sabalenka has played Rybakina in 5 finals, yet has won just once in the 2023 Australian Open. Other than that, the world number 1 has lost to the new world number 2 in the 2023 Indian Wells final, the 2024 Brisbane final, last year's WTA finals, and this year's Australian Open. In the modern era of women's tennis, few rivalries are as fascinating and unpredictable as the clashes between Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina. Both players are Grand Slam champions, both possess devastating power, and both dominate opponents across the WTA Tour. Yet whenever these two step onto the same court, a curious pattern often emerges. Sabalenka, one of the most explosive players in tennis, frequently finds herself struggling to impose her game against Rybakina. For tennis fans and analysts alike, the question has become unavoidable. Why does Sabalenka have so much trouble against Rybakina? A battle of similar styles. At first glance, Sabalenka and Rybakina appear built from the same tennis blueprint. Both players rely heavily on aggressive baseline power, booming serves, and flat ground strokes that cut through the court. Normally, Sabalenka thrives when she can overpower opponents, forcing them into defensive positions. However, against Rybakina, that advantage often disappears. Rybakina is one of the few players on tour who can match, and sometimes exceed, Sabalenka's raw ball-striking power. Instead of being pushed back, Rybakina calmly absorbs the pace and redirects it with remarkable efficiency. Her ability to hit clean, flat shots off both wings means Sabalenka rarely gets the short balls she typically feeds on. When Sabalenka realizes her power isn't overwhelming her opponent, frustration can creep into her game. The serve factor. Another critical element in this matchup is Rybakina's serve. Widely considered one of the best serves in women's tennis, it often becomes a decisive weapon when facing Sabalenka. Sabalenka herself is known for a powerful serve, but she has historically battled periods of inconsistency, especially under pressure. Double faults and fluctuating rhythm have occasionally disrupted her momentum in big matches. Rybakina, by contrast, delivers one of the most reliable and efficient serves on tour. She frequently wins quick service games, which keeps pressure squarely on Sabalenka's own service games. In matches where Sabalenka is already fighting for rhythm, facing a player who rarely offers breakpoint opportunities can become mentally draining. The calm versus the fire. Another major factor lies in temperament. Sabalenka plays with visible intensity. Her emotional energy fuels her game. When she's confident and in rhythm, she can look unstoppable. But when things start going wrong, that same emotion can amplify mistakes. Rybakina's demeanor is the opposite. The Kazakh star is famously calm on court. Rarely showing emotion, she maintains a steady, almost robotic focus regardless of the scoreline. Whether she's down break points or serving for the match, her body language barely changes. Against many opponents, Sabalenka's intensity becomes intimidating. Against Rybakina, however, it often meets an unshakable wall. That psychological contrast can subtly shift momentum during long rallies or tight sets. Tactical discipline. One of the less obvious reasons Sabalenka struggles in this matchup is tactical patience. Sabalenka's instinct is to attack early in rallies, taking risks to finish points quickly. This approach works brilliantly against defensive players who struggle to absorb pace. But Rybakina thrives in that exact environment. Her clean technique and efficient movement allow her to redirect aggressive shots without losing balance. When Sabalenka tries to rush points, Rybakina often turns defense into offense with a single well-timed strike. As a result, Sabalenka sometimes feels compelled to hit even harder, pushing the boundaries of control and increasing the likelihood of unforced errors. Big match dynamics. Interestingly, the Sabalenka-Rybakina rivalry has frequently unfolded on some of tennis's biggest stages. Their meetings in deep tournament rounds and major events have added an extra layer of pressure. Both players are fearless competitors, but the margins at the top level are incredibly thin. A slightly lower first serve percentage, a few mistimed forehands, or a moment of hesitation can swing an entire match. Against a player as efficient as Rybakina, those small dips in performance become magnified. And once Rybakina senses an opening, she rarely lets it slip away. A rivalry still evolving. Despite Sabalenka's struggles in certain encounters, the rivalry between these two stars remains one of the most compelling matchups in women's tennis. Both players continue to evolve their games, refine their tactics, and chase Grand Slam glory. Sabalenka has worked tirelessly on improving her mental resilience and serve consistency, while Rybakina continues to sharpen her already lethal baseline game. That means every future meeting between them carries the promise of something new. In the end, Sabalenka's struggles against Rybakina are less about weakness and more about the rare challenge of facing an opponent uniquely equipped to neutralize her strengths. When unstoppable force meets immovable object, tennis fans get something special. And whenever Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina meet across the net, the sport witnesses exactly that kind of electrifying battle. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.